As we're working to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to effectively defend itself, the United States continues to step up. We've obligated just recently and pushed out the door another $8 billion in security assistance for Ukraine. That was in September. Another almost $500 million just a few weeks ago. And President Biden is committed to making sure that every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now and January 20th.
This is my video update on this Friday afternoon, November the 15th. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the news that RFK Jr. is going to be the Secretary of the HHS, Health and Human Services. No surprise here. This is the position that RFK Jr. wanted, and it's going to be a difficult confirmation for RFK Jr. It's not going to be easy to get confirmed, and if he is confirmed, I expect he will be confirmed. If and when he's confirmed, he's got quite a fight on his hands, taking on Big Pharma. That's going to be quite a fight. But if anyone can do it, RFK Jr., he's the man. He's the man for the job. And the stock prices of Big Pharma, they took a hit on the news that RFK Jr. was going to be the Secretary of HHS. So that was big news from yesterday, but no surprise that RFK is going to take over this very important cabinet position, make America healthy again. That's the job that he has in front of him. It's going to be a big task, big challenge for RFK Jr. So Elon Musk, he met with the Iranian ambassador to the UN, according to the New York Times. And the New York Times, they are citing Iranian officials. This meeting lasted more than an hour, according to the New York Times. Musk, he initiated this meeting. He's the one that contacted the Iranian ambassador to the UN. The Iranian side, they picked the location for the meeting. And the subject of the meeting was to diffuse tensions between the U.S. and Iran. I believe that is a direct quote from the New York Times article. To diffuse tensions between the U.S. and Iran, a direct quote. The conversation, according to the NYT, was positive and good news. And this is all coming from Iranian sources. The New York Times article has the title, Elon Musk met with Iran's UN ambassador, Iranian officials say. The tech billionaire, a top advisor to President-elect Trump, was reported to have discussed ways to diffuse tensions between Iran and the United States. According to the New York Times, the meeting between a senior Iranian official and Mr. Musk raises the possibility of a change in tone between Tehran and Washington under the Trump administration, despite a charged history between the president-elect and Iran. One of the Iranian officials said that it was Mr. Musk who had requested the meeting and that the ambassador picked the site. Analysts said that for all the history of bad blood with Mr. Trump, the Iranians appeared to want to keep the door to diplomacy open. Mr. Trump, too, appears interested, they said. Overall, everything is possible with Trump, said Ali Vaez, the Iran director for the International Crisis Group. He appears to be interested in a deal with Iran, but some advisors, he said, may favor other approaches, among them increasing the pressure on Iran. Other advisors like Rubio. You got to imagine that the soon-to-be Secretary of State, who will be confirmed, Marco Rubio, is not too happy about this meeting between Musk and Iranian officials, but what's he going to do? If this was under Trump's directive, then so be it. The New York Times also says that the two Iranian officials said that the meeting with Mr. Musk provided a workaround for Iran, allowing it to avoid sitting directly with an American official. Mr. Musk will, however, have an official role soon. He has been named as the co-director of a new government efficiency agency, the Dogecoin Agency, the DOGE. It's an agency that hasn't started yet. Musk is a civilian, even though he has a lot of contracts with the Pentagon, a lot of contracts with the U.S. government in general. He still is a civilian, and he has been appointed to what I believe is one of the most important roles, soon to be one of the most important roles in the Trump administration, but it's an agency that doesn't exist. So a workaround, by Iran to engage with the Trump administration. It reminds me of Michael Flynn, who was for 22 days, Trump's NSA, and he met with the Russian ambassador to the U.S., Sergei Kislyak. I think I got that right. And the establishment, the DC establishment, flipped out. Well, they were looking for an excuse to remove Flynn, and they found it with this meeting between Flynn and the Russian ambassador to the United States, and this started a chain reaction of outrage, where eventually Flynn was dismissed, and this left Trump isolated and at the mercy of the establishment, and they started to get Trump to appoint Pompeo and Bolton, McMaster's, and all of these guys. This reminds me of that. By the way, it wasn't unusual what Flynn did. It's very common for an incoming administration to begin to engage with other countries, to begin the diplomacy process. Nothing unusual, but Obama, Biden, Comey, all of these guys, they were looking for something to get Flynn on, and the whole Russiagate thing and speaking to the Russian ambassador, that was it. But that's what this reminds me of, but it's very different, because Flynn was NSA. That's an established position, an established agency, an established part of the U.S. government. And Musk, he's still a civilian, and he's going to be in charge of something that hasn't been created yet. So they're going to try to go after Musk for this meeting, no doubt about it. I imagine that's what the purpose of this article from the New York Times, that's what this is about, is trying to get Musk on this meeting with Iran, trying to derail the whole Musk-Vivek Doge department, trying to submarine it before it gets started. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I don't think they're going to be able to do it at all. Interesting development, as reported by the New York Times. If this is true, and I believe this is true, then it also shows us that Trump is reaching out. Even though there is a lot of bad blood between Trump and Iran, it does look like Trump is keeping to his promise that he's trying to find ways to de-escalate. That's what this tells me. I mean, Musk would not have met with the ambassador without the order from Trump and the approval from Trump. And so this means something. We'll see where this all goes. It'll be much different when he becomes president after January 20th. And this meeting is going to really freak out a lot of the DC establishment. Also, a lot of people in Trump's soon-to-be administration, like Rubio and Waltz. Musk also spoke to Zelensky on the phone last week as well. So it looks like Musk is a very important part of Trump's inner circle, of Trump's team. He's even getting involved in foreign affairs. So speaking of foreign affairs, Antony Blinken, Blinkety Blinken, he was in Europe, in Brussels. He met with EU officials, and he said in a statement the other day that every dollar that the U.S. has at its disposal from now until Professor Biden exits is going to be given to Project Ukraine. He's cashing out, man. The Biden White House, they are cashing out. Whatever we have in the piggy bank, let's take it all. Let's not leave one freaking cent in that piggy bank. Not 1 cent. Actually, let's just take the whole freaking piggy bank. Let's just take it, including the actual piggy. Let's take it all. Yeah, they're cashing out, man. They're absolutely cashing out of Project Ukraine. The Pentagon said the same thing. They said whatever weapons they have, and when they mean weapons, they mean giving out contracts to the MIC, they're going to give to Ukraine. They're going to contract whatever money they have in the budget for Project Ukraine. They're going to get those contracts all signed up with the MIC, and they're going to also cash out. You see, Blinken, Sullivan, they were running the foreign policy for the United States over the past 4 years. I've said it many times that Jake Sullivan was the president of the United States when it came to foreign policy. Blinken was his vice president. Now what we're going to get is going to be very different. Trump is going to be a strong executive. Biden was a weak executive. Trump is going to be a strong executive, and he's going to call the shots. And Rubio is going to have to execute. If he doesn't want to execute, then I imagine he's going to be let go. At least that's how I'm seeing this. The Biden White House, their number one priority when they won the election, above everything else, was Project Ukraine. That's all the Biden White House cared about, was Project Ukraine. You never heard statements from the Biden White House after Hawaii or after the hurricanes in the southeast of the U.S. You never heard announcements from the Biden White House where they were saying that every dollar we have is going to go to the American people that suffered from these catastrophes. You never heard a statement like that, ever. Like, ever. They didn't even come close to saying something like that. But when it comes to Project Ukraine, every dollar, Blinken said, every freaking dollar. We're going to look under the sofa cushions. We're going to try to find every cent that we have at our disposal to give it to Ukraine. Because when it goes to Ukraine, it enters the washing machine, it spins for a couple of hours, and then it gets funneled right back to everyone. They're not going to leave anything in the bank. That was the Biden White House's number one priority. Project Ukraine. And Sullivan, he was the president of it all. Blinken, the vice president. We're going to have a very different Department of State under Trump. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. It's going to depend on the decisions that the president makes, which is very different than what we have now or what we had over the past 4 years, where everything was dependent on the decisions that Sullivan and Blinken made, and at the time Newland and all of these people. So that's what Blinken said as he was in Brussels. Trump said the other day in a speech talking about the conflict in Ukraine, he said, "We're going to work very hard on Russia and Ukraine. It's got to stop. Russia and Ukraine got to stop." He said this at an event in Florida as he lamented the deaths of the war. This is coming from CNN. "Whether they're soldiers or they're people sitting in towns, we're going to work it," he added. So Podolyak, he gave an interview to La Repubblica, the Italian newspaper. And Podolyak, he said that the changes made to the victory plan are what is going to keep Trump on side with Project Ukraine. That's what's going to keep Trump committed to the Zelensky regime and Project Ukraine. You remember the amendments that the Zelensky regime made specifically for Trump, the keeping of the replacing of American troops in Europe by Ukraine troops once the war in Ukraine ends. That was the one change that was made. And the other change, what was it? The other change was the Zelensky regime gives over all of Ukraine's resources and minerals and lithium and everything they have to Trump. Those were the two changes that Zelensky made in the victory plan in order to win over Trump's support. And Podolyak told La Repubblica that this is going to make all the difference, these changes in the victory plan. Let me get his quote. Podolyak said, "We bring pragmatism to the negotiating table. We have developed military expertise and can offer Trump a partial replacement of American contingents in various regions. First of all, in Europe, we also have deposits of rare minerals, such as lithium and titanium, which we can exploit together." A bribe. Very interesting, huh? Very interesting. Yesterday, it was extortion. It was blackmail. Yesterday, it was blackmail. Either, according to the Times, the UK Times, either you don't ditch us, Trump, you don't leave us and you keep supporting Ukraine, or we're going to build nuclear weapons, atomic bombs. That was just yesterday coming from the UK, and that was directed at Trump. Don't leave us or else we're going nuclear. And today, via La Repubblica, via Podolyak, Podolyak, you go to La Repubblica. You go to La Repubblica and you give the bribe. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what this is. Don't leave us, Trump, and we will give you our lithium and our titanium, and we'll give you the entire country, everything we have, all our resources. Take it, but just don't leave us. These guys are like real mafia guys, man. Jeez, these guys, Zelensky administration, man. I was thinking these guys were actors, script writers and producers and actors. They're mafia dudes. A little blackmail, a little bribing. It'll be okay, man. Everything's going to work out. Trump ain't going to leave. A little carrot and stick. Yeah, the replacing of U.S. troops in Europe with Ukrainian troops. We don't even know what Ukraine's military is going to look like in 6 months. Things are going so bad on the front line. Who knows what's going to happen with the Ukraine military? I mean, Russia is demilitarizing the country. Kursk is a catastrophe for the Ukraine military. Zelensky can't get out of Kursk. He's completely focused on Kursk. He's pretty much abandoned Donbass. The Economist is saying that Zelensky doesn't even know what's going on in Donbass. That's the UK Economist. They're saying Zelensky is completely clueless as to the situation on the front lines in Donbass. But Kupiansk, we're getting reports that the Russians are moving closer to Kupiansk, which is stunning, absolutely stunning. In the south, we're getting reports that Russia is gearing up for a big offensive in the south towards the major city of Zaporozhye. I don't know exactly what's going to happen there, how any of this is going to go down, but we're getting reports of over 50,000 Russian soldiers amassing in the southern direction towards Zaporozhye. Pokrovsk, the Russian military is moving ever closer to Pokrovsk. They captured a couple of more villages and towns today. It's a complete collapse on the front line in Donbass. But Podolyak is talking about Ukraine troops in Europe. You know, Podolyak hasn't understood why the U.S. military is in Europe, why they have U.S. military bases in Germany and in Greece and Italy and other places, all throughout Europe. He actually believes that those military bases and those U.S. troops are there to protect Europe. No, Podolyak, they're not there to protect Europe. They're there to control Europe. So the U.S. doesn't want Ukraine troops there, even if the Ukraine troops were the best, and even if you had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them to give, ready to go. That's not the point of the U.S. military in these countries. They're not there to protect Europe from the big bad Russians. They're there to control Germany. They're there to control Greece. Keep these countries in line. That's why they're there. Podolyak, Podolyak. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, huh? Anyway, it's not going to work. This carrot and stick, bribing and blackmail tactic that they're using with Trump is not going to work. All the signs are pointing to a Trump administration just wanting to get out of Project Ukraine. That's what all the signs point to. We'll see. We will see once Trump is inaugurated. So Ukraine, the Ukraine government, they are starting to scrub all the social media posts of Tulsi Gabbard, where they called the soon-to-be, if she gets confirmed, the soon-to-be director of national intelligence, DNI, very important position, in charge of 17 intel agencies. They're scrubbing all the social media posts which said that Tulsi Gabbard was a Putin puppet and a Kremlin stooge and, quote, an audience for the Kremlin money. Working for foreign audience for the Kremlin money. That's a direct quote from one of the posts on social media from the Ukraine government. And now they're trying to erase all of these posts where they were basically saying that Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian agent and getting paid by the Kremlin. Yeah, the internet doesn't forget. Zelensky never forgets. Nope. Podolyak, quick, delete that post. Delete that one too. TikTok, go to TikTok now. Delete that as well. What else? AOC sat down with Joy Reid, and they talked about how voting for Trump and supporting Tulsi Gabbard is being pro-war. Supporting Tulsi Gabbard, AOC said, is supporting war. You are pro-war. This should be my cloud world. Oh, boy. Yeah. Joy Reid is probably on the way out. We'll see. MSNBC is in big trouble. Big trouble. AOC talking about Tulsi Gabbard being pro-war. Didn't AOC support all of the billions going to Ukraine? I think she did.
And we haven't even gotten to Tulsi Gabbard potentially having access to national security information. And Russia loves it. Loves her.
And I actually think almost more than Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard's appointment is devastating. And Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, as much as she says that she's an anti-war person, she's not.
Yeah.
She supports very pro-war individuals,
including
abroad.
In Syria.
And let's be very clear, a Tulsi Gabbard nomination is a pro-war nomination globally. Point blank, period.
As is Donald Trump as president of the United States.
Russian economy here, I'm seeing, grew by 4.2% over the first 9 months of this year, despite sanctions, is according to the Prime Minister, Mishustin. 4.2%. Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Ursula, for all of that economic growth. Can we get some more sanctions, please? Please, please. We're getting reports that the economic ministry in Germany, they told the LNG terminals to turn away Russian gas. They sent a letter to the LNG terminals in Germany, and they were expecting some shipments, contracted shipments of Russian gas, which Germany desperately needs because the German economy is in tatters, I tell you. And Robert Habeck, I think Habeck is the person in charge of the economics ministry, isn't he? But they got a letter and they said, no, don't accept the Russian gas. Turn it away. Way to go, Germany. Way to go. Anyway, I think we'll wrap up the video for today on this rainy day. I don't have anything else to talk about. Let's get into some clown worlds before the rain really starts to come down. Let's see. According to Bild, they're wondering, did Biden secretly vote for Trump? What have I been saying? What have I been saying? Of course he did. Of course he did. Have you seen how happy Biden is, man? Guy's on cloud 9. I haven't seen Biden this happy since I don't know when, man. Biden's always been a very angry, bitter dude. But he's finally found his happiness. MAGA has given Biden happiness. Who would have ever thought? Of course he voted for Trump. Bild, what are you talking about? Did you see Pashinyan? He put out a video shaving his beard. He posted that on social media. The leader of Armenia, Pashinyan. I don't know why he posted it on social media. I guess he also wants the likes and the views. And finally, we are getting word that Nancy Pelosi is going to run again in 2026. She files for re-election in 2026. Nancy Pelosi, my God. She will never retire. Never, ever, ever. Nancy Pelosi. Axios says the Pentagon is shocked by Houthi arsenal. Yeah. Jim Webb talked about this on the live stream that we did on the Duran. How the Houthis, in a matter of no time, went from no weapons, primitive weapons, to hypersonic missiles, right? How did that happen? We know. We know how that happened, and if the collective West continues to escalate with Russia, well, groups like the Houthis are just going to get more and more powerful. So it's time to get out of Project Ukraine and to make friends with Russia and Putin. Anyway, that is the video, everybody, on this very rainy day. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. Go to the Reverse Gear shop, maybe pick up a hoodie. The hoodie's Reverse Gear. The shirt is Duran shop. I'll have a link to those shops in the description box down below. Take care.